with Dashing Dish. Today I'm going to talk to you about carbohydrates. I think that carbohydrates get a really bad rap, and that's because of a lot of the diets that we've heard of, talk about low carb and no carb and things like that. And sometimes I kind of smile to myself when people say I'm eating no carbs, because I think pretty much everything has a small amount of carbohydrates, unless you're eating a chicken breast, an egg white, or a piece of lettuce. So let's talk about some good healthy carbs and what are some ways that we can incorporate carbohydrates into our diet without eating the processed stuff. I think one of the reasons, let me just say, that carbohydrates do get a bad rap is because so often they are processed, especially in America. A lot of the carbs that we see in our diet are things like white bread, white pasta, and so those things really don't have any nutritional benefit when it comes to fueling our bodies. And so what it does is it often leaves us craving more sugar, more carbohydrates, and it really does break down as sugar in our body and doesn't really keep us satisfied. And we have these huge energy highs and then this huge energy dip after we eat processed carbohydrates. So a better source is to eat whole grains or carbohydrates that come in a more natural source, so they're not things that are man-made. So oftentimes when we think of carbohydrates, we think of things like pasta and bread, right? And so what are some good ways that we can replace the white bread and pasta without taking it out of our diet completely? Because I am a huge believer in finding alternatives so you don't feel deprived and so you don't end up binging later on those things that you feel like you can't have. So what's a good swap out for the white pasta and the white bread? For pasta, I would say that some winners definitely have come into the grocery store shelves, and they are things that even my picky husband eats. So my husband, I like to say, eats like a picky 2-year-old. So if you have one of those in your house, whether it be kids or your husband, you know what I mean, or maybe if it's even yourself, these pastas have all been approved by him, so kid approved. So this one is a quinoa based pasta, and I like to use these in really any recipe where I call for like a penne pasta, and really it's just made with quinoa, so it has all the nutritional benefits of quinoa, and it's just made into a pasta shaped noodle, so that you're not getting that weird funky texture or look to it that oftentimes turns picky eaters off, and it looks just like white pasta. So that's a win definitely when it comes to replacing a white pasta. It's a great source of protein and fiber, and actually all of the ones I'm going to recommend today are a good source of protein and fiber. So it has that staying power and it stabilizes our blood sugar long term. The second one would be the organic red lentil rotini pasta by Tolerant. I might be pronouncing these brand names a little funny, but just bear with me and try and find the packaging and how it looks on the store shelves to find it. This one is 21 grams of protein per serving, so that is excellent. And it's made with just red lentils, so beans basically. And so it's gonna really give you that fiber, that protein that you're looking for, and it's completely natural because it's made just from a red lentil that's dehydrated and made into a pasta. This one is rotini, and it's an orange shape, so you can do it in a mac and cheese or a different recipe where you're looking for kind of a spiral shaped pasta. And then this is another good one that I actually found just at my local grocery store, and it's newer, and it's called Pau pasta. This one is made with green lentils, but it looks pretty white, pretty similar to white pasta. This is a penne pasta as well, and made with 25 grams of protein per serving. So again, very nutritionally dense and very good for you. And so you can see you really don't even need to eat white pasta anymore, or even try and hide it if you're trying to find a healthier alternative, because these all taste and look just like regular pasta with so many nutritional benefits. Moving on to bread, a lot of times I don't even eat like sandwich bread, but if I do, I like Ezekiel brand bread. It's sprouted grains, so oftentimes even if you're gluten-free, sprouted grains don't hurt your stomach or cause digestional issues. And for me, it was one of the things that I absolutely loved, especially when I was pregnant, was just toast with Ezekiel bread and a little bit of nut butter. So that's a great option, but also they come in wraps, and I've eaten them all, so this is just the empty package, but these can be found generally in the freezer section at most grocery stores. Ezekiel bread, again, same thing, frozen section. And the reason for it is it doesn't have a lot of preservatives and a lot of junk in it, so they have to keep it frozen. And that just shows you how good it is for you that, that it has to be kept frozen or else it'll go bad. And, if you keep white bread out on the shelf, it can stay there for a really long time. And that makes you wonder, how good is it for you? Because fruits and vegetables go bad. And really anything that's good for us eventually goes bad, right? But if it can be sitting on a shelf like a candy bar for 2 years, you wonder, what's really in that? So look for Ezekiel bread. It's a great brand of bread. As far as flours, I always say cut out the white flour and the white sugar and start there, and you will feel so much better. I like to use oat flour. You can see that in my recipes. I also use almond flour a lot for people who can't have any grains at all. But oat flour is my favorite because it is so good for you and it is so inexpensive. You can make your own at home, but I like to just buy it in bags that are about $3 a bag. And you can buy organic, you can get gluten-free if you need certified gluten-free oats. And you can just grind it up and make it into a flour and replace white flour in almost any baked good with oat flour. And it has protein and fiber, and it will absolutely just blow your mind at how good the baked goods still taste without white flour. And then last but not least, when it comes to healthy carbs, and I am not showing all of the sources of healthy carbohydrates here, just the ones that I think we most tend to think about when we think of carbohydrates, is fruits and vegetables. And I think a lot of times people don't really think of fruits and vegetables as carbohydrate sources, but they are some of the best because I like to call them God-made foods. I mean, they are straight from the earth and we know that they're good for us. So things like sweet potatoes, you could have this steamed, you could have it roasted, you can do so much with sweet potatoes, and that's a really good source of carbohydrate that will stay with you and give you energy. Also apples, really any kind of fruit. I like to use the higher sugar fruits in moderation, so like bananas and things like that, oranges, just a little bit higher in sugar and lower in fiber. I like to eat the fruits with fiber, so apples and berries, things with fiber and a little less sugar, but by no means are any fruit or vegetable bad for you. You can't go wrong with fruits and veggies. And then also things like beans, so whether it's canned beans or you soak your own, those are really good sources of carbohydrates as well. And like I said, this isn't all there is to carbohydrates, but you can see here that there are a lot of great options that will fuel your body. Carbohydrates are not the enemy. If anything, they give you sustained energy if you choose the right sources. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. Make sure you comment and let me know what kind of carbohydrates do you guys like to enjoy in your diet the most. And I hope that this broadened your horizons and gave you some new ideas for some healthy carbohydrates. I hope you have a wonderful day, and make sure you check out all my recipes at dashingdish.com.